you've read the transcript of the phone call
What phone call?
between Earl and Amanda.
No, I have not read the transcript.
Okay, well, I want to share some parts of that with you because this was recorded by the police.
I have this relationship with my husband that's falling apart, but I love you and I have this relationship with you.
Don't take this the wrong way, but work on a relationship with your husband.
He wants to go to counseling, but how do I do that? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I've just been having sex with you and my dad this whole time.
I guess in a lot of ways it's kind of like when you break up with somebody, you leave that relationship in the past and you move forward.
How do you go for 15 years loving somebody in ways that you don't even understand to being married to somebody and having a kid with them and living this dual life, you know? So this is like our breakup?
Yeah, I think so.
So you're breaking up with me?
No, I love you. You're my daughter. I've always loved you. And I will continue to love you.
Okay, whatever.
We always have had and will continue to have a special bond that nobody can break.
Like tonight, Gabe wanted to do stuff with me, but I couldn't because he would have known that I had just, you know,
Right.
that like my underwear, my, you know, and then he's like, well, you never want me to touch you.
Like I said, this is just an awkward conversation for me to have on the phone.
So we can't do anything anymore, and we just have to move forward. No more sex, no more nothing, no more. No, it's
You're so awkward. And I was selfish, and I regret that. Not recognizing my addiction.
Your addiction to, like...
To you?
Me?
How do you hear that and believe that your husband was not having relations with your daughter?
I don't know, I have to process this for a second, please.
Take your time.
Would it be possible for me to see the whole thing?
Sure. I can tell you it gets worse.
I understand.
At one point, she says, he says to her, the first step with like getting over it or stopping is to just stop. And she says, and he says, yeah, the first step at getting over the guilt is to stop the action of what is causing the guilt. And she says, so, you know, like, what if I need money? Because she had been charging him now. What if I need things like that? Well, it was never really about that to me. It was never really about that, the money to me. Mm-hmm. If you need money, I've got your back on that. It wasn't really about the money to me.
Was that what was played in court?
That's what the jury heard.
Oh.
My father's never done anything to me. He's never laid a hand on me. I don't know why she would say something like that.
One of the weirdest things about Amanda's behavior during the trial to me was that the first time she got on the witness stand to tell her story about the alleged sexual abuse, she had no emotion. There were no tears. The way Amanda was behaving was very strange to me.
When I heard the guilty verdict, that day was one of the toughest days in my life. I felt like I was losing my dad for the rest of my life.
I didn't know what to do. I just tried to stand there and be strong for my mom and my sister Allie and just support him the best I could.
Since my dad is in prison, I will miss out on the things that a girl should not miss out on. He will not be able to walk me down the aisle. He will not be able to take me to prom. This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with in my whole entire life. I don't understand what's going through Amanda's head. What she is doing is tearing my family apart.
I will never have a relationship with Amanda again. She will never be a part of my family again. She is not my sister.
Well, Amanda's husband, Gabe, joins us, as well as Amanda's younger sister, Allison, and her brother, Joe. I appreciate all of y'all joining us, and I hate this for you guys to be in this situation with your family going through this. It's difficult, I know. You know, I would ask the two of you the same thing I asked your mother. Have you entertained the possibility, what if she's telling the truth?
Yeah. No. Because you have to look at it from both sides. That's my sister and that's my dad. They're both family members. I love them both. when something like this happens in your life, you have to look at it from both sides. I tried to be there for both of them.
You weren't, though.
I did.
You had chosen your side from the beginning.
No.
He tried to be in the beginning, he did.
Y'all listened to me talk about the phone conversation that took place, and I have to tell you, I don't practice anymore and haven't for a long time, but I was trained as a forensic psychologist, and I've talked to a lot of rape victims. I've talked to a lot of molesters.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of rapists. I've been on both sides evaluating these things, and that phone conversation is very, very troubling.
Yeah.
Does it not trouble you?
Well, I know my sister, so that's why it doesn't trouble me. When Amanda's in one of her moods where she's very angry or suicidal or anything, you tell her what you need to tell her to get through the conversation to make sure she's not going to hurt herself. Even if it's outlandish or wild, at the end of the day, you don't want her to kill herself, and she would threaten to do that or threaten to hurt other people.
You have to entertain the possibility, what if
I did.
your sibling here has been getting raped since the age of 10?
I did. I was on both sides, and they're all lying if they say I wasn't. I was on both sides until the moment that I told my sister how much time my dad was looking at.
Until the moment that you asked if you could take your dad out of state, would
hold
she
on.
drop the charges?
Okay, hold on. I got that.
I said, I was working. My mom called me. So on the way home from work, I stopped at my sister's house because it was on the way home, or on the way to my mom's house, rather. I told her how much, this was in her house, in her dining room. I told her how much time he was looking at. The emotion didn't change in her face. I told her that CPS was threatening to take Allie away from my mom. Again, the emotion didn't change. That was news. And the emotion didn't change in her eyes. The look in her eye didn't change. At that point, that is what convinced me.
And you thought what? What did you conclude from that?
That she's in one of those states that it's not Amanda.
The reason the emotion didn't change was we already knew that
It had already
information.
sunk in
She
by
had a
then.
bedroom ready for Allie to come there. She was going to be one of the 3 choices. She already had that information, Joey. That's why her emotions didn't change.
Actually, that's
We
not
actually-
correct.
That's not
but You're
correct.
giving a lot of opinions here about things that
Well, that's
I'm
what I
trying to-
thought it was, at least.
We actually met up downtown. My husband dropped me off, and my brother and I walked around for a few hours and had an entire conversation about it.
That is not.
And I
what
told
I'm
him
talking about.
that my dad did deserve
I
to
know.
go to prison.
it's two different things.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're thinking right now.
To be honest, I'm just broken. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm broken. Kids are all broken. Every one of them. And it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It doesn't. Every single one of my children are broken. There are things that I can pick out. I'm not gonna get in an argument with them. I'm just not gonna do it. So is it that important to bring it up? Like, I want to say this without getting in an argument with everybody because it's a question that I have. But if this happened to you, why would you, or you, for that matter, allow my granddaughter to be alone with him? Why? That's a fair question, I believe.
Why would you have this man that has molested you walk you down the aisle and babysit your innocent 2-year-old?
The times that my daughter was with my parents, it was my understanding every single time my mom had the day off of work or the next few days off of work, and she'd be with my mom as well as my dad. But I figured, and I knew every time my mom left, my daughter went with her. And how do you keep up a facade? And what excuse would I tell my parents for my daughter not being able to go over there? If my mom asked for her to stay the night, I would say yes. But in my mind, and I talked to my husband about this, we were trying to figure out at what point do we say
she's not allowed to go over there anymore. And what reason do we say it for?
You met with Mr. DeMarco.
I did, yes.
Did you feel comfortable?
I did.
So there's nothing that you would complain about with regard to the results?
No, he was very professional. He was very great.
Jack, you have no reason to believe the test was contaminated in any way?
It was a good test, Dr. Phil.
Okay. You were asked the following question. Has your stepfather, Earl, had sex with you within the last 15 years? Your answer was?
Yes.
And the answer was found to be non-deceptive, too. Jack, was this a close call?
No, Dr. Phil, was not. She had a +8 in this particular format scoring system. She would have needed a +2 or above. So it was significant.
What's your thinking?
I don't know a lot about lie detectors.
No,
I honestly don't.
I understand.
I believe that she believes what she was saying. Yes, I do.
And how about you two?
I'm confused about the whole thing.
I'm sorry?
I'm confused about the whole thing. I don't really know what to think. Like you said before, she doesn't want a relationship. That's what she said. She said that she doesn't want a relationship, and she said that we've cut her off. I've tried to talk to her. I've tried. Because I love my sister, and I love my niece. And I've tried my hardest to reconnect with her and do everything that I can. She won't.
You know, getting by in life is sometimes about meeting people where they are when they're there. You went a long time without saying anything about this, and then you decided to say something about it. And I understand the power and control that a molester can have over a victim, so I totally get that. But I've spent my whole life in this field. They haven't. All they know is one day the phone rang and their father was ripped from the home. I mean, you've got to give them time to process this and to grieve that process. And extended family is very important for a child. He has not done anything wrong. She's not done anything. I mean, come on.
I don't blame them.
You want your daughter to know your family.
Here. You want a relationship with me, yeah? You want a relationship with our family. You wanted us to forgive you for this.
Forgive me.
I didn't mean to use that word. I apologize. You want.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what you mean.
For the whole.
Being the change agent.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
Well, here.
No, I want to know how someone can go through
Just
this.
listen.
Tell me what you're going to say.
I want to know how someone can go through this and their family can turn their back on them. Because that's what I feel has happened.
The only reason that I want to talk to you again is to see your daughter, to see my niece, to have her run to her Uncle Joe and give me a hug.
At some point, you got to hit the reset button and say, you know what? We're going to start from here one day at a time. And if you choose not to forgive her for things in your earlier life, then that's your choice and that's your burden to carry. Because that's, having anger and hatred and bitterness, that's something that if you choose to carry that, that's your choice and you'll make it.
I don't choose to hate. I don't hate her. I'm washing my hands of her from my life.
Then I think that's a really, really bad decision, but it's yours to make and yours to live with when you make it.
That's fine.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.